Hey, this is the Kubeflow Notebooks meeting for the 26th of June, 2025. As always, this is mainly the Notebooks 2.0 meeting, but it's also Notebooks 1.0, and that will come into effect definitely today. We're talking about graduation as well. It also tentatively covers the dashboard component, which is split across multiple repos at this point, three, a mixture of the manifests, the Kubeflow, and Notebooks repo, but ostensibly the Notebooks working group does own that code right now. So that's a separate discussion. But if you don't know what Notebooks 2.0 is, and that's the main reason why I hope most people are here, please read this issue. It's 85 on the Notebooks repo. It just explains what we're doing. We're rewriting all of Kubeflow notebooks. It's going to probably end up being called Kubeflow Workspaces with a rebrand at some point, but not quite initially. It's got a new repo in the Notebooks repo. We've got lots of people working on it. It's pretty cool. So if you don't know what it is, read this. If you think you can help, please reach out on either this meeting at the end or the Kubeflow-Notebooks channel. The preferred way to do that is just to say, hey, I am a person. If you can say where you work, say where you work. If you can't, that's fine too. And then say, I have Go experience, I have controller experience, I have some kind of DevOps, AI, whatever experience. Can I do something? And I'm sure someone will reach out and find you a task. So, awesome. Anyone want to say hi? We sometimes let people say hi if they're new. So does anyone want to say hi who hasn't said hi before? I see a couple of new names, but if that's fine if people don't want to say hi. If you are a user of Kubeflow or a distributor, please add yourself to the adopters file of there is a notebooks adopters file, which I know this is a bit confusing because it's in this repo and it's not the V1 repo, but it's right now. We added this a couple weeks ago, so if you want to add yourself, please do that. If you want to add yourself to Kubeflow overall or another project, we also would request that you do that in one of their adopters files because there's lots of different projects. Yep. Okay. So graduation, quick overview of what's happening. The CNCF has 3 levels of projects: sandbox, incubating, and graduated projects. Being a graduated project is something that the CNCF and the KSC of Kubeflow would like to happen. It enables us to get guaranteed time talking in things like keynotes at KubeCon, extra funding and things like that, better booth locations, and also just like it sends the right message that Kubeflow is the CNCF's official or standard way of doing AI stuff on Kubernetes. So I think Eder has been following up on some of the next steps that we have to do so that we can raise the application to the CNCF as of in a week or two. So do you want to do the takeaway?
Yep. Yeah, I'm creating this issue to track because one of the tasks for the graduation is to basically to report our status in a group of areas regarding the badge. And let me put add there's a link of the badge there. And after I'm going over, we cover both of most of the items. It's just a way for we just need to explain where the things are. And I'm doing this in progress. Probably I'm going to do one per week per day. So hopefully we will be is more most about reporting the things that we already do.
I think once you get done to security, you might have some issues, but other than that,
Yep.
sorry, that's quality.
On the model registry, the quality and security was the ones that requires more tasks.
Cool. And I need to get added to this. I keep forgetting to do that.
Yep. And Matthew, my suggestion for you is to get added for this today because took me 2 days to activate my login. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because their website has some weird spams restriction.
What did you sign in as? Just your Gmail?
Yeah, we just you need to create the account and wait to be able to log in. So create the account today and wait. Then I can add you there. It's weird.
Strange.
Took me 2 days.
Weird. Anyway, interesting. Okay. And so, is there anything currently blocking you here, or is this just something that people else need to?
I started yesterday. Probably will be some stuff to distribute among other members. Probably things that I need your help, but I don't know yet. I'm going item by item.
I think the only one that I imagine we're going to get blocked by is this one. Also, just for reference, are we doing it in the context of Notebooks 1.0 or?
I'm doing the context of 1.0 for now.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay. Cool. And so then also the other thing, just if you are a community member, the most important other, like for other pieces of Kubeflow, the one thing that we are doing upstream for the whole project is this general technical review document here, which is what's going to be actually submitted to the CNCF. Like this badge is mainly just a checkbox in one line of one question in this thing. So like there's hundreds of elements here for the overall project that need much more in-depth discussion. I think now that Andre's back, I will go through it with him so that we can raise this, because this is the actual blocker, right? We, even without us having the badge done, as long as this is done, we can actually raise the ticket with the CNCF to actually start the process. Technically, we're kind of already in this mixed state where, you know, we're already talking with the security reviewers and things like that, but it's which normally would happen after. But so if you're good at writing and things like this, and you're really aware of what's going on of the overall project, just contributions or comments, even if you don't say specific, if you don't write contributions, you know, pretty much the way this works is that there's a question grouped by section, and then under there has a block of text that justifies why we've said yes, we have that. So, you know, describe how the project integrates with other projects. We are part of Kubernetes, you know, we have different components that integrate with popular frameworks. Then here's some reference that shows how we integrate with the overall ecosystem on the actual website. And so this happens for every single question. And this is kind of, some of them are not fully described yet. You know, they're just things, or some of them are, maybe we find one that we actually do need to do some work. But I don't think there's many other than the security one, which is, well, this one, the badge, right? Oh, actually, let me add our one. Cool. But yeah, then we do need to do the security reporting stuff, which I guess we'll come to in our own one. Okay. Anyone else want to comment about graduation stuff before we move on? This one's just important because it lets us get up on stage on the keynote in KubeCon North America this year and say, hey, Kubeflow is a graduated project, you should try it out. And look what Kubeflow, hopefully by that point, we can say, hey, and Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0 is ready for you to try as well. That'd be great. Okay, AMD, if you're here, is AMD in the room with us? I'm joking. You
I
can.
think Andy puts on the chat that he had. Oh,
AMD.
Oh, AMD. Not
I'm on. Oh, AMD. Sorry.
That's funny. Yeah. No. I'm just saying. Yeah, because I think we're waiting on them to roll out a driver fix before they can make a pull request to finish their official image. But I just keep it on here just so that we don't forget if they eventually come. Okay. The migration of code, as we talked about pre the meeting, I just want to highlight that we are going to do this. We're focusing on getting the dashboard one done first. Although, again, it is not going to block the graduation. It's definitely not an ideal state that the 1.0 code is there, but as we don't really plan to release new features in 1.0 anyway, and the dashboard being migrated is more important because the dashboard is going to take code also from the manifests, like it, and is its own component. You know, it's going to be a new component effectively, officially. But it's not being graduated. So neither of these actually block the graduation, but we do need to do this because it is getting a bit ridiculous, but we'll just keeping that on the tracker. Anyone want to say anything about that? Okay. So, oh yeah, we will, so one last thing about, so Notebooks 2.0, we'll come to this one after, but the logo, we are going to raise so we've got some designs and they look kind of like this. We're going to raise a ticket with the CNCF's official design team to get I think they're contractors. I don't know exactly how it works legally, but they take briefs and they make iterations and they'll work with us there. I don't know if they are willing to work with us on Slack or if they want to do it through the ticket system. I'll have to check, but they'll probably want to work through the ticket system, I imagine. But so that does mean that someone will have to relay information to everyone else. I think maybe we can add watchers though. So I don't know if you have to be I don't know, we'll have to see. But once we create the ticket, we'll see if we can add Jenny, at least, if you're the one who's going to mediate the design discussions. And also, whoever designed the logo probably should maybe also be added.
Yeah,
you know,
so could add me and Tal, or yeah, once we figure out how that works.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
I don't know. I'd have to check if you can add an email that isn't actually associated to an account on the ticket system, because I don't know how that would work. You know, so yeah, like, but yeah. So I guess obviously this is not the final logo. Especially because the first version will have the word notebooks down here. Of course, we will be rebranding to workspaces, but the reason why we're not doing that at the same time as doing the release is because we do have a pretty strong brand with notebooks, and I would like to take people on the journey to say that this is not a breaking change. It is a breaking change, but you know that people can upgrade safely to we're like, I want it to be very clear that when we get up on stage on KubeCon that we're replacing notebooks with workspaces, but it is just a notebooks 2.0. So there's an intended migration path to begin with, and then maybe like mid next year, maybe the next KubeCon EU or something, we announce that we're going to rebrand to workspaces formally. Of course, we're saying publicly we're doing it now, but that's like our intention. So yeah, okay. So let's make sure we don't confuse people by calling it workspaces as the overall project, but the designer can say whatever you want. So I think Jenny volunteered to help fill out a version of this form, which was submitted for model registry, but for notebooks, so that we can send this to the design people. I think we probably should just have like you can own the doc if you want, or we can however you want to do it. Do we make one of these already? Anyone?
I just made a copy and
Okay,
called
cool.
it.
Do you want to share that in the doc?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And so then we can like have people make a basic comment on what they. Obviously, there's some debate, I'm sure, around things like color palettes. Like, definitely, I think we need to use one of the most whatever the most important Kubeflow color is. But then I think it's okay to say that you can use other colors as well. Like, there's no. Maybe there is some debate around whether we allow non-blue colors, but you know, we've got, for example, that you can kind of see all the logos here. They all are mostly blue, but you know, I'm not against having some other color in it as well, like two, like at most two, but yeah. Okay.
That makes
Yeah, where's that dog?
sharing it here now. Yeah, let me know if you have any issues.
Oh yes, that's I don't. So can you share that with Kubeflow discuss as a commenter, and then add me as add me specifically as an editor. I'll request access, but can you so the way you do Kubeflow discuss is by going, you add I'm gonna ping it to you directly because I don't want any of the bots picking up that email.
Thank you, no problem. I think right now this is internal, so I have to maybe sign out and create this somewhere else.
Okay. Do you want me to just copy this then?
Yeah, oh, that'd be great if you could do that.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
Let me just do that. And I'll just make you guys an editor. Okay, file, make a copy. Well, yeah, okay, fine. I'll move it into the actual Kubeflow drive as well, which almost no one has access to anymore. More of a vestigial day of when Google owned the project. Let me just. Oh gosh. Okay, fine. I'll just put it in my drive for now, but I will move it. Actually, no, I won't. I'm gonna move it into our one. Let me do it. Notebooks working group. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna put it in our community meetings one. Logo for Kubeflow notebooks, which should automatically correctly share it as well. Yes, that one. There we go. Okay, and so obviously we need to update lots of things here, but let me just make sure the sharing is correct. Yeah, see, it's like brings in all these things. And so I'll add you guys as editors. Let me just do that. So who needs to be an editor? What's can you send maybe Slack DM me? I'll add editor, but other than editor, what's your email that you want to use, Jenny?
Let me just I can ping you here too.
Cool. And who else should have edit? People obviously, I think Jenny, you can probably mediate people's comments if you like. You know what I mean? People can make suggestions and then just so that we have a consistent voice. maybe. Okay, I'm just trying to find your message. Oh, there. Okay, cool. I'll add that one. Perfect. And so I'll add you as an editor. And then we have this solved, which is good. Okay. And so yeah, we don't. This one isn't a blocker for graduation, so we can take as much time as we need with this. This is not like, but obviously we need. It's a blocker for release though. so you know what I mean. So and it could take a couple of months to go back and forth, I imagine, with them. I will make it clear that we need this to be done before KubeCon though. Okay. Perfect. Sounds great. And I will link this in the chat, not the chat, in the. Okay, and so here's that. Okay, cool. There we go. Anything else we want to talk about the logos? So I guess what we need to do is just feel free to edit that aggressively, Jenny, and then we can talk about it next week, maybe with comments, and just make sure it doesn't reference model register or anything. Yeah. Cool. Oh, you muted.
You mean just like the next week to review the document?
Yeah, but you don't. If you don't have time, that's fine too. But like, it's just a matter of like, make sure that we remove the references to model registry and kind of come with what we think the baseline kind of pitch is going to be based on our references and things that we've done.
Sounds good. We can also ping the channel before then if anyone has time to maybe take a look or review the
Yeah,
draft.
yeah, everyone's welcome to start now, but obviously we need to actually change the base first. But yeah.
Yes.
So everyone should be able to comment. If you are a member of Kubeflow Discuss, make sure that your Google account that you're logged in as on the top right is part of Kubeflow Discuss. I've added editors for Eder and Jenny. Cool. Okay. Anything else about the logo?
That's it. Thank you. Great discussion.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for everyone's work there on the logo so far. It's going to be fun to have a real logo. Makes us feel like a real project. Okay, Eder, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, if you want to scroll down.
Down or up? Up, right?
I think it's up. It's up. Sorry. Yeah, for the epics. So for the main goal, we are pending two things. The main goal for May was to create a workspace from scratch, and there is a video results. We are pending two features: the secrets, and we are pending the discussion for volumes. This is a secrets PR that's being working on by Matthew, and we are progressing.
The actual code is ready. Yeah, it's just I need to add tests. But yeah.
Yep.
I think it's
And
already being used in a lot of
yeah,
other tests. But yeah.
And for the second bullet point for May, we are done on the why. We are just pending your review and the pull request. And now Harshad reviewed and approved it already.
Also, if you're wondering, this one doesn't include updating, right? Because I got about 90% of the way through a PR to make update.
No, this is just a start and stop to do under the why. Just this.
Yeah, I'll do a quick update on explaining where I had landed with the update PR as well, just so that people know, but not now. Yeah.
So later, Matthew, if you can do a quick review on this one, even if they do incrementally, because this is pending for like 2 weeks.
Oh wait,
already.
The status one, you mean this one?
Yeah, the start to stop.
Oh, the start-stop one. Okay, yeah. I do need to check this one works still with the new update paradigm, but yeah, I think it will.
Yeah, this is the most important one because with this we are going to close the stars from.
I will need to validate this one in the context of the new update one because I've changed some of the code parts a bit aggressively.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think we should merge these and then you update your pull request.
I can rebase
later, right?
I can probably rebase.
Yeah. So let's merge this because this is kind of pending for a long time.
Yes, I will look at this one straight after. Okay.
And this with this we are going to complete for the May goals, and for the June, if you can go back for
these, so you don't get confused.
Too many types. Yeah. For the June goal, like we are able to list workspace kinds and get specific about space kinds. The counting is not on the Y yet, but we are progressing. And also, Charles, we're gonna share that we are doing the first iteration on the front end to create a workspace kind, uploading a raw YAML. But I don't want to steal the storm from Charles.
Yeah. That's really, I saw that really cool thing as well. So yeah,
No,
I'm
no,
excited.
yeah, I don't want
Yeah,
I
that
don't want
sounds
to
good.
steal the.
And also
Yeah,
for the
if
updating, just I am working on something that might come. I doubt it's going to come before June though, but like I'm just trying to
Mhm.
get the workspace
Yeah.
update, which me and Andy have done a lot of discussion about how to do workspace
Yep.
kind update, which is a lot more complicated.
Yep.
From a back end perspective, not from a front end.
Mhm.
That's also complicated too.
And from May is for the connect part that they are still discussing. How to
And so we
connect to
really
a
need to get
workbench.
something on here so that it's because this is the one which is going to highlight to actual people what the heck's going on, and it's also going to
Exactly.
force us to solve the
Mhm.
dashboard problem as well.
I don't know if you and did you talk with Harshad about this? Harshad is not on the call.
Yeah, so Harshad is on holiday today and tomorrow, but he is looking at this. He was like very close to having something tested. He has the code up, but he was like working on getting an end-to-end environment with like a Kubernetes API gateway so he could like really test it coming all the way in just to see it work end-to-end to understand it. But he has the first cut of code in there that he felt pretty good about. So my hope is when he's back from vacation early next week, he'll have something that I can start getting an initial review on. So we are very, very close here. It's just, tolerating holidays and stuff. But I'd like to think that me and Harshad can feel good about his PR such that we're ready to then open it up to discussion with Matthew. But we'll make sure me and him go back and forth on it first to, kind of get that initial validation. But very close. Hopefully by next week, we can have something, ready to go or very close to Matthew's review.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that let's not try to do this before the end of today, obviously, and end of the month. But like this one's definitely going to push into July. But for July, I think as part of July's sprint, if we're calling it, I don't know what we're calling it, we should try and get the dashboard repo into a usable state so that then step one of the how do I use Kubeflow notebooks and get connecting, in the development thing is to go to this commit of Kubeflow dashboard and install it. You know what I mean? And so, including moving the OAuth 2 proxy and Dex code in there, which should be relatively straightforward considering I maintained that one. I like made that.
But for this we need auto tune block. What do?
That's what I'm saying, right? So like we need the dashboard repo to be releasable in its current state, and then we need to migrate the stuff out of Kubeflow manifests that is for auth, so that we don't have to tell people when they're using the notebooks repo to go to the manifest and dashboard and combine them in some really confusing way. It needs to just be like the manifests are for the underlying dashboard are here. The manifests for Istio, we can just say install them yourself. That can be a dependency, you know what I mean? Then but the manifest for the gateway, like Shab was saying, and Istio, and OAuth 2 proxy and stuff, we should move that into the dashboard repo. Which and since we control that repo, we can just unilaterally merge that in. But and that needs to happen anyway because it needs to get removed from the manifest repo.
This is what you mean, right? A summary. Be able to run notebook inside Kubeflow Central Dashboard, and the prereq be able to point to a tag in the Kubeflow Central Dashboard, right?
Well, yeah, it's like finish the it's like
migration.
It's like make sure that the existing. It's like up here. It's like it's effectively not up here. It's on the standing item that we always have. Dashboard code is releasable from Kubeflow dashboard. And finally remove code from Kubeflow. Then migrate any critical PRs, or at least keep track of them. So like what we've got, by the way, is add tests to dashboard repo. This one's mostly done, so I'm just going to strike that one out. This is not struck out, this one, but this is the one that we're currently working on. Like this is the one that's like the current. There is also, I just want to warn people that there is some active development on the rewrite of the dashboard also happening in there, but that's not related to this. That can just continue in master. It's not really. And so the thing that will be in our example, we'll be showing the original dashboard, not the rewritten dashboard, which isn't finished yet. But effectively, the example steps to document in notebooks repo is like install Istio from upstream source, not Kubeflow. Install cert manager from upstream source, not Kubeflow. Like other way around, actually, you need to do that first. Then install dashboard UI manifests. Dashboard manifests, which is like profile, controller, UI, etc. Install dashboard auth manifests. Oh yeah, wait. Yes, and then this one's migrate the auth to proxy dex Istio gateway reference implementation manifests from Kubeflow manifests into Kubeflow dashboard. Install the optional like overlay like dex Istio gateway or to proxy, and then from there then you install notebooks 2.0 controller backend front end manifests, and then ... You know what I mean? So like this is like pretty much like, and so the way we would say that is like go to specific commit or version tag once we have a tag. And so like that's why this because you literally cannot connect to the front end without having all of this part done. So that's why that has to be a goal for July, and that does mean, which is happy for the project as well, because it means that we can get
integrated.
Yeah, but we can also just unblock some stuff that really needs to happen for the maturity of the project. Like migrating this OAuth 2 proxy code out of manifest is critical for the future of the project, because this is not the authoritative way of doing it. It's just an optional way of doing it that we're demoing to users, not requiring of them. Because then it makes it clear that Kubeflow is a bunch of tools that you can use, and this is just dashboard is an optional tool, right? That's kind of what I'm saying. Anyway, cool. So I just wanted to highlight that's the biggest task for a lot of the stuff most people on the call can't contribute to, but if you want to, feel free to. But it's just not that you can't, like more like it's just if you're a front end person, there's no front end work there, if you know what I mean. Like, but okay, cool. Anything else from the current sprint that was blocking us?
Yes. No. If you just want to ask a thing, if you will scroll a little down for the epics for June before you're going to epic by epic. So scroll a little down.
Oh, further
June
down?
is down. Yeah, further down. It's for epic for June's. I have two suggestions here. First is that Charles become the owner of this one. Now Charles is working mostly on this. And the second one that's regarding we need probably a better description, because this one is list workspace kinds.
Wait, what? I thought this one was culling.
No, this one is just added here by mistake.
We should have that as well, and that is a separate issue. We should keep that other epic as well.
No, because this epic is not for June.
I know, but like, where is it? We should make sure it gets tracked then.
No, it's tracked on our dashboard, not here for June, because those are the epics for June.
But then why was this here though?
Copy paste.
I don't. Does this exist anywhere else in this file? It doesn't. Right?
No, is this because if you scroll a little up, when I created this, I scroll now for the short term goal from June. I put this as a part of this epic.
No. Yeah, sure. But like what I'm saying is I don't want to lose. We do need an epic for tracking GPU utilization and culling.
Yes. If you click on 307, you'll be there. It's there.
Oh, I see. We should probably track the epics here though, because there's not that many of them, right? Like July or like April.
No, yeah. It's
That's what I'm saying. Just like, and then just add your link.
Oh, yeah, but this is for future, right? Yep.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So like, if just, I don't want to lose it. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Oh wait, no. So move your comment off that one. Oh no, yeah, there you go. Okay. I'm just gonna also format this a bit differently. We really need to format this differently. Okay, whatever.
Yep.
Okay, so that's good.
So wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Matthew, to interrupt. You wrote epics for April, and that confuses me.
Sorry, August.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Time. What is time? Okay, let's. So from your perspective, we're just overviewing what these are so that people understand, as well as
Yeah,
like how
I would start by the June because with Charles
So which one is that under though?
is if you click is on the June.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is a new epic. I mean, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should. This should also, if it's for June, it needs to be updating as well, right? Or is this?
Sorry.
Should we put this under July or June? Because it's not really an
No,
epic.
this is June.
It's going to be done immediately.
It's already been done in June.
But it's not an epic then, right?
No, because it's,
Like, isn't there already a create workspace kind thing somewhere under here?
no, there was a bunch of stuff there.
That's what I mean,
This is
right?
just
So,
a
like,
piece.
that's where it's being tracked right now, though.
Yep.
It's like the thing that's more valuable is like this should be like the epic should be like this is a feature, right? We can track it under here if you like, but
Whatever.
but then it's like because I really want this to be tracked for July and June, like list create like it's effectively manage workspace kinds. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, and these become features then. Wait, why's Jeremy? Sorry. Yeah, why is this one separate? Sorry.
Because it was separate before, just this. Because one is for the creation, another one for the listing. It's
This
two
needs to be an
different big
epic. No,
issues.
like there needs to be an epic that's
Okay,
overall just for
Whatever.
this page.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Feel free. Yeah.
So like
feel
who
free
should
to change.
manage that epic, and then within that, those features can be assigned to specific people. But it's like the epic owner is just about making sure that we progress.
Yeah. Put Charles there.
Okay.
Charles
Are you okay with that, Charles? Is what I'm saying. Do you want to help manage that? Like so,
Yeah,
like
I'm
the
okay
end
with
to end.
that.
I think it should be front end driven. So if you can like represent the needs of the front end person, that is amazing.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll be able to do that.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you very much. I'll put a to do here, which is okay. Okay. So I guess we do need an epic for this, but like okay. Because this is more of a feature, ironically, and these are tasks, if you know what I mean. Like this is like that's kind of what I mean. But okay. Okay, I'll put a to do there for that. Combine the workspace kind management epics into one and make them sub features. Like there is some from up above and the two below. This just needs
Charles, probably to update this, you need for myself to add it. Just ping me on the chat, and we can update this together.
Or we can
Okay.
just make he can make an epic that he owns, because you should always own the epic
Yep.
issue that you
It could
create.
be, could be as well, but I need to rename these either way.
Yeah, and these will probably become feature. That will probably
Feature,
say,
yeah.
yeah. I know it's a bit confusing, but it's just like I know it's all going to be a bit confusing mess. So if this one can be closed out, that's fine too. Like that's like if this one is actually done, then I don't know what we'll come back to that. Okay, let's go through the existing epics then, or which one has the one which includes your current task, Charles? Or is so that you get to show your thing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on where. Let me see.
It's on the June. It's on the June.
Yeah,
It's the one that
it is
we're
actually
talking.
this one. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Maybe we should just go through the ones that are actually blocking us for May then. Is there anything here, or deploy is not? I
Deploy
guess this is
was
actually going to be
June.
I think we should move this under July, right? Because deployment is part of that one that we just listed up here.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll look through and make sure that that's reflected in there as well.
Because I want to actually get that one closed by July, is what I'm saying. Like, let's put them by the time we're wanting them closed, not by the time they're being worked on necessarily. So this one is just an ongoing one, so this one's not really. That one's fine. This, which is owning the overviews of setting up developer experience, I don't think we need to go through that right now. And then setting up workspace kind. So workspace. So this one's weird because it includes things that probably need to be pulled under it, right? That's what I don't understand. This, like running a workspace is definitely a task for June, right?
Yeah, but this is not running. This is the creation of the workspace.
You probably
Like
make
I
that.
view personally, I view that kind of synonymous to what we just said, because, you know, if you look at Harshad has this like workspace listing under Epic 291, where I feel like maybe 274 could just be managed workspaces, similar to Charles owning managed workspace kinds, right? And that's, you know, you can tell me that's a terrible idea, but, you know, I just feel like
I think this one potentially should live, as we've kind of been saying, under the deployment one. But again, I do like the idea of having an epic for tracking this just because it's kind of complicated. But not the listed
I
one.
look at
the
specifically
that
sorry, yes, no, it's that feature in there. I feel like might be better served elsewhere, because it's like just a totally context switch for Harshad in terms of the work that he's working on.
Yep. So where, like, I agree that we should, but is he actually doing that one, or that one looks like it's being managed by you, Eder?
No, I just created this.
Okay.
But this is the workspace listing. This is the problem. This should be on the new one that we created.
Not for workspace kind though. That's workspace.
Not.
We need to rename, or we need to clean up some of these. Like if this is done, then we can just close it and make a new one. But
no, this is it's complicated to deal with these things in this way, because everyone has an opinion. Someone needs to go there, and you know.
Whoever owns it though needs to own the issue, right? So if it's going to be done in, I think it's just that we should focus the epics as to areas of concern, right? Like that's kind of, and with outcomes, right? So like the end goal is, and it's from a user focused perspective.
Set up a workspace. This is the goal of this one.
This would be, is this setting up or creating though?
It's creating.
Yeah,
Creating
right.
is set up.
And then list workspace in my mind is that separate? Is that is there a new
No,
epic?
this is part of this one, because what a user wants is to connect to a running workspace, and in order to connect to a running workspace, they need to have the workspace list.
Okay, but like I think that's more of a cross
dependency.
dependency.
Like workspace list. Yeah, I think like workspace list is more than that though. We should probably talk about this in Slack and not.
Yeah. So
fill up
my perspective
time.
is that the only reason why this one got its own epic is because it involves a lot of things that are going to run longer than the initial sprint. Like, so it involves like connecting, including things like the upstream dashboard, and it just someone needs to manage that life cycle is kind of what I'm saying. But I don't know why things like culling controller ended up, but like, so like managing workspace, we need a new epic for managing workspaces. And I think that probably, that can be an epic that exists during July, I think, right? And like and that one should take things like potentially culling. Maybe I'll move that actually under.
I think we should organize this offline and use the call to see the status, and also see there's a bunch of requests that we need to do. That's how they're blocking the epics.
I think, yeah,
It's a slog, but I am trying to get a reconciled view, Matthew. I've went through these working group notes prior to today, and the initial design document, and I'm pulling stuff out, verifying that things are already implemented to try to get an overall feature list that we can rework into this. But I think we need to kind of redo this from the ground up, because this is getting very hard to manage. So probably an overall holistic view. I'll try to have that done by next Thursday and work with Editor ahead of time to get stuff organized.
So, okay, so if we think about it from the epics that need to be done based off our current plan, what it feels like to me is that repository setup is just an ongoing one, so I'm just going to leave that one here. We don't have a date for that one. Setting up this one, let's try and close this out and replace it with a manage.
That one is just open because we are penning the secrets.
That's what I mean. Like, so let's try and get this
And
one closed
volumes.
out. And then, because this is, and effectively think this one is like create. I mean, like think of that one as like create a workspace.
Yep.
And then, which maybe I'll just.
But we need to move. We need to move the secrets for something else.
Workspace to fine tune. Do you agree? Like create, just like that be the name.
Yeah, I just don't want to do in the call.
Yeah, no,
everyone
but I just want to make it very clear that this is not like so that this one should be closed by the end of June. Like, so we can move that one to June. All I'm saying, it's going to get really, really hard to keep track of otherwise. So like these ones, I'm trying to close out by the end of this month. Well, I don't know about these ones, but that's a new one. But then manage running workspaces. So how does this one? This one needs to be subsumed under. What is it? Can this one be closed?
If we merge the end is pull request, the first part can be closed and the second one is in progress, but you can split on edit.
Yeah, I'd say we should move that one under to like this one should be moved to just so that people can see what we're doing. I just want to make sure that people understand that move to manage workspace. Epic. Okay. Okay, and that's
But
all
these-
there. Oh, then this one though, yeah.
But the epic that you just it's effectively called managing and updating workspaces.
This one? Okay, well,
Yeah.
I mean, we could, so I guess this is a question for, who should, well, we need to close this so that the person who owns it actually has the issue, but if we use this one. So I guess the question is then, does Charles or Paulo own this one?
Yeah, Paulo owns this one, but it's on my name because I can.
Like the one that's for these, like these are the new epics that we need to create. Like, does Paulo or edit like oh wait, no, it's you. So do you want Paulo to own that one?
My friend, I'm sorry, but I'm not understanding what's the issue with the current one that we have right now. I'm not following you.
Oh no, what I'm saying is I want to close. If Paulo is Paulo going to now take ownership of managing workspace?
Yes, but it is already on this.
Okay, so we've actually already got this issue then. So like all I'm saying is then let's move this to July because that's when we want to close that one. So we don't
we need to close that in June because it's just a pull request that is pending for you to merge.
The second part needs to be moved in though, right?
No, the second part, but
Yeah.
because my understanding that epics will be long-lived, right? That's what
Well, it's more like the
like,
issue here is just that the issue needs to be owned by the owner, right? You know what I mean?
No. I'm talking about two different things because you told me like 10 minutes ago that epics should be long-lived, right?
Some should be, yes. They should be groups
So
of features.
but this is exactly the case, right? The first one should be done right now, and the second one will be done in July. This one will be done in July.
Sure, but it's just like some of them are kind of connected together.
So I not understand what we are trying to change here because this one is a perfect example of epic that's long-lived, and the first part will be done in July, and June, and the second part is done in July.
That's
It's
fine.
in progress already.
That's fine. Okay, but we do definitely. So I was just assuming that we didn't have one because we didn't have one for workspace kind.
Yep.
But this one is fine if we want to move this one to July because that's when because we're trying to close that one out by July or at least mostly, right?
I want to close the first part in June.
That's fine. That's fine. What I mean is like editing, but this part should be done by July. Is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, and
yeah, because that's why it's noted that target for next sprint.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. And then
I just don't want to postpone Matthew the review for
No, I'm not
For the
gonna.
pending
That's
request.
fine. This one will get merged. This is my blocker anyway. Nothing else, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So then, now the part that is where does this live, right? Like I guess that can live there for now, but it's a bit weird because Hishad doesn't do front end stuff, right? Like, because that's a front end problem. This one. I feel like this should live under managing and updating running workspaces.
Yeah, could be. Could be. We can move there.
But we need to actually move it on the actual issues. I mean, I can't just move it here and have it move. But let me just, yeah, so.
Put a note for me and put a comment for me. I can move there.
Yeah. Oh no, this one. Because this one's always been strange.
Yep.
Under 296. And I think this one.
No, don't. Yeah, no problem. It's because here is not my
It's fine, whatever.
my personal MBA.
Okay, and then this one here. So the one thing. Then this one here though, not this one. Where is this? What is this one? We needed to. So we're gonna, but then we will be able to close these two out. I don't know about this one though. Why is this one separate? I guess that one gets under here.
No, this one is you can delete this one because we are creating for be part of the workspace kind.
Well, that one's actually linked weirdly. Okay, yeah, that's actually not even the right number.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. And then, but the one thing I do want to do is have Paulo recreate this issue. So that, like.
But why? We can assign for him.
But he can't edit the actual issue. Issue is that you're the one who wrote this part. It's not a huge deal. It's just a bit weird that he doesn't own it, even though he's the owner of the epic. Like it's just from like an editing perspective. I guess it doesn't really matter, but okay, it's fine. It's if Paulo, we all agree Paulo owns that. Okay, now we've mostly got these things figured out. Then, so, well, so these ones, okay. So repository set up and developer experience. This one's going to be long. I'm just going to say.
Math, we have 4 minutes and Charles didn't do the demo yet.
Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it to Charles to show this one then as it's under this. No, it's under this workspace kind, which doesn't exist yet, but it's under here. Right. Okay. Do you want to share your screen, Charles, or do you want to?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Do I?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because I tried to stop sharing, but I accidentally stopped recording. That's what I was. That's the button I clicked wrong.
We have 2 recordings for this one, probably. Right?
Yeah, I'll have to combine them. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is annoying. I might have to leave and come back in 1 second.
Okay. Let me just. Yeah, the reason we need to get these epics sorted out because it's getting completely out of hand as to who's actually owning what, I think. So yeah, this one and then June. I want to get this one closed, yeah. Okay.
We can see your screen now, Charles. But
okay,
we can hear you, Charles, if you're speaking.
You're muted, yeah. You're muted.
Okay. Good. Now it's good.
Yep.
All right. So this one, it looks a little different from the one that just got merged because I did not apply the styling, but functionality should be the same and a little more because this is the latest iteration. I'm still working on this on my code editor, but I will demonstrate how it would look like if you drag and drop a file with like 100 pod configs and 100 images to the workspace kind here. So like, let me draw. I wrote a script to generate this, so it's a really big file. I think it's like a 200 kilobytes or something like that. And once you drop into the YAML upload, you will be able to click the form view. And in this form view, you can edit very basic form fields like note like the workspace kind name, like say, and it will reflect in the YAML too, which is what I'm working on at the moment. So let's say we switch this to test2, right? And on here, yeah, it would convert to test2 as well, so that the user can like maybe save this file for later and then not have to just rely only on the form. And for the images and config, we display both of them. We display two tables. So let's go with the image at the moment. And when you click edit, there will be a modal popping up, and you can edit different things here. There are some configurations that we did not include on the form because it does not make sense in the UI. It would be too complicated, especially in the pod config. But in the images, you can edit different configs here, like the links, like the name, like the ID, how it shows up. And on the UI, we also allow you to like kind of set one as default. And you can also add a blank image here, like let's say example and submit. Then it would be on the last page here, let's say idea example. You can click that for as a default image if you want. And the most interesting thing is I'm working on these two are not merged yet, but the pod configs, I would just do it here so that anyone who wants to review it can go ahead and go into my PR and leave a comment there. So here we display the label. Similarly, the name, the ID, display name, description, labels, as well as resources. So this one is this one is interesting here, that way you can add not right now because I think I didn't fix that bug yet, but you can, for a lot of different ones, there are ones that with GPUs and you can add into, I think hopefully this one works because, oh no, yeah,
It's
this is a
fine.
this is a working branch.
Yeah.
This is a working branch
Right.
that technically
Yep.
there is let me see if I can like even do this now. Well,
It's fine.
you can add GPUs like nvidia.com/GPU or amd.com/GPU in the custom resources there. But the idea is that you can go in here and in the future, like let's say we want to in the future that we want to like copy and paste a bunch, and we can edit a few on the form. We can do that, and there are the more advanced ones in the pod template. The pod template is not, I don't want to say advanced, but there are some that cannot be displayed on the form, like the affinity, and because that one is like it's very hairy from what I read on the Kubernetes specs. Right now the only thing I have is culling, because from talking with Kyle, apparently a lot of people who use notebook servers really want to have the culling feature here. So I have a simple one that only will as I explained here, would be based on the last activity in the Jupyter.
I think you've nested that weirdly, right? Because image config actually exists under pod template as well.
Yeah, the organization of these things are a little bit fluid at the moment. I was thinking that I should change change some of these naming into not pod template, but something more like advanced settings or something,
Well, 'cause,
something like that.
it's yeah, there's
Yeah.
like effectively the actual structure of the YAML.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we don't have to follow exactly the structure of the nested in the YAML, but like organization, I will consult with Kyle once he gets back from vacation on like organizing. But I think these two tables like they can stay. But what I'm working on right now is the last part. I don't want to know what to call it, so I call it pod template because
So
I
like
ran out of ideas.
there's two complicating factors.
Yeah,
The first is that this is the create screen.
yeah, this is a great screen.
And so the create screen is actually quite different from the update screen by nature. And
Yeah.
so like I think Andy, we talked a bit about this is very, because you've managed to connect these two together, this is pretty similar to what me and Andy were actually discussing for the update screen as well, with one complexity being that when you're creating, you're dealing with the YAML directly. But when you're editing, you're dealing with the backend objects which don't strictly correspond to the YAML. So like the
yeah, we were talking about, we had a discussion about that, and I feel like, Andy, are you here? Are you here with us?
all I'm saying is like this is
am here.
I think some of this, like there's a certain level where a lot of this work should be ported into the update rather than the create. You know what I mean?
Matthew, I think we should have the same wire both for create and
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
update.
thinking.
I
Ideally.
don't know
Yeah.
if it'll be technically possible, just because the actual structure of the YAML is completely different. Like my concern is that I don't necessarily want the front end knowing about the YAML structure. Like the back end should be the thing interpreting the
Yeah.
structure. Just because like when we do a breaking change in the YAML structure, I don't want it to break the front end ability.
Yeah, but it's
All I'm
but we
saying is
need
that
to
this code base just by its nature is not going to be compatible with the update API. It won't be. Like it's similar, but it's not guaranteed to be the same. Like what you've built here is exactly what we need for the update. Yes.
Yeah, but I think after talking for the user perspective, right? Can you click, Charles, please, on the YAML, right?
Yeah.
After I upload like a sample that's a huge YAML like this one, I would like to go in the farm view, click on the farm view now, and be able to explore in the image all the configuration that hard. I would like to have as a user a visual tool to do that. And if I want to have this, I would like to also be able to edit, if necessary, to add to change the
But this is
display
only on
name,
the
to change
first
a
time you
property.
create, though.
Yes, yes.
Like as soon as you actually have a running cluster, the update flow is very different. Like it just has to be.
But no, we are talking here about the create. But I want to have this form view in the
like,
create. You understand?
I wonder if we can do a lot of this just by, like, the goal should be to make this as automated as possible. Then, like the generation of the form view. But this piece.
Yeah, the thing. Yeah, I understand your concern, and there is a certain aspect in the front end that will need to read. We still have to parse the YAML and then convert it into these fields. That's what I was doing, right? Anyway,
my concern is this. Like
I think we should split the conversations between the technical and between the user perspective. Like we all agree that having this type of visuals of YAML is good for the user, because I want to take one sample and add, for instance, my own custom image for one sample that I take on the website. Do we all agree with this?
So, but that doesn't necessarily need to be in this initial create flow. It could be that you drag in a sample and then you just go immediately to the edit flow, you know, because then the backend has interpreted the thing for you. You know what I mean? Like, so the backend will always be backwards compatible and forwards compatible, whereas the YAML could be completely random. You know what I mean? Like it, because also like allowing people to edit like this, there might be very complex validations that the front end should not have to think about. Like the front end should not be parsing the YAML is all I'm saying. Like it can, if you could give it a JSON tree view, sorry, a YAML tree view on that form view if you would like. And you can even have special understandings of some sections if you would like to pull in your code there, which you've already done, right? That's pretty much what you've done.
Yeah.
But it can't ever remove fields that could be valid. You know what I mean? That's my biggest concern. Like it.
I don't think it can remove any
Like what if an
fields
unknown
though.
property was here? You know what I mean in the YAML.
An unknown property that's
Like say like anywhere there could be an unknown property.
yeah. So in the YAML, if there's any are you saying like the unknown
Like there will
property
be
is
many situations where we're adding fields everywhere in this thing.
yeah. So those fields are left actually intact. That's the point of this. Let me show a simpler YAML because this one is insane.
I just think that the form view, like most of what you've done there is critical for the update path, but it will need to work on the different object structure from the update API, but which is much simpler from your perspective as well, actually. But I think the form view needs to be more of a automatically generated with a few special field sections for known complicated stuff like that you've already shown.
Yeah.
You know, effectively, like it should directly follow the YAML structure is all I'm saying. And then you should be identifying based off the type.
Yeah.
The backend.
So
that's
right.
hard, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
this is what I'm trying to say. Like let's say there are unknown
So this
fields
is all
here.
handled in the update. That's all I'm saying. Like even
Yeah.
like my initial plan was literally just this first section, and then you don't do the second section at all, and then this section is most of the code is used for the update instead. But again, you don't have to think about the YAML for that case. You have still got a YAML or JSON object.
I think you're mixing because on the farm view, Charles, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? When I upload this the initial YAML, when I go in a farm view, we just ignore the properties that we know. We don't know. We just allow
Yeah,
people to
that's right,
customize the
yeah.
things that they should customize.
Yeah, that we don't convert everything into a field if that's what your concern is. We don't convert so like a lot of these fields are the ones that are the most prominent and common. Like a lot of the complicated ones, like the one we like let's say these three, like the front end actually doesn't know about it and it didn't change at all.
I think, Battlefield, when I'm putting this create and I'm clicking the farm view, is the only way for me as a user that I don't understand this complicated YAML. It should go.
Like to be honest, like
in my point of view, for the upload, we should not even see the YAML, but I lose the battle for you on last time.
No, definitely
but
not.
let's put the YAML here
the front end
and then
cannot,
go.
The front end, like it's a pretty hard line that the front end will not be interpreting the workspace kind YAML. It's just not a good idea. Like it's just very dangerous. Like I am amenable to having a JSON struct kind of view on the other side, which one-to-one maps, including seeing the kind and API version fields on the right to make it easier to look at. And you can even have a specific section that understands some of the more complicated fields. But even that is just, I still think that's a mistake. Like, there's no reason why the user can't make what is effectively an empty, if they have lots of options they want to add that they know about, just create effectively either from a sample or existing or empty workspace kind by just uploading a YAML and then go immediately to the edit view.
I don't think so. Because imagine that I have a workspace kind called sample blah 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 in the Kubeflow website. I want to rename that workspace kind before uploading from a cluster.
Well, that's fine, but like,
no, you just told me that this is not fine because in order to do this, I need to upload the YAML here and go and edit somehow. Charles, click on the farm view, please.
Yeah.
The issue is that I just don't want the front end actually knowing anything about workspace kind YAMLs. Like it just shouldn't. Like it should. No, but it can't. Like that's not the job of the front end. Like the
For
front
sure, it's
end.
the job because I want to change the icon, I want to change the logo, I want to change the name, I want to change the description of something that just uploaded for the cluster. On functionality, I want this as a user, and
The only
I would
field
like
that's
to.
not changeable, all those fields are changeable after creating. The only one that's not is
No,
the
but
actual
I
ID.
don't. I don't want to create something, Matthew, with the wrong name, with the wrong logo, with the wrong everything.
No, but
as a user.
so like 100%, we're not going to be adding logos and stuff though. Like, because the flow for a logo is like you actually have to you have to bzip upload.
No, forget about the logo. Just focus on the name. I don't want to upload something from a cluster with the wrong name.
Why do you want the front end to do this? I don't quite understand. Like, I don't feel like your statement makes a lot of sense for me. Like, users, the whole goal of what we were trying to do here was that the front end, we need to get to a state where you've created a Kubeflow notebooks environment that's empty. It has no workspace kinds. The goal is to get the first ones in there so that you can start editing them with the UI, because you shouldn't be using GitOps to edit them. We kind of agreed on that. And so the whole thing we were saying was just make a YAML upload page, right? I wasn't expecting a form view in that page. Like, because like the front, like what happens when some very complicated validation takes place and you don't know why it didn't work. You know, like it's
Which complex validation, for instance?
I don't know. There's like a couple
No,
thousand
tell me,
lines of
because
complicated
no,
validation. Like
no,
what about
it's not.
like you're not allowed to use a slightly incorrect. Like there's so many, like aside the redirects and other things like that. Like what about if they have two IDs that overlap accidentally?
Which IDs, Matthew?
In
There was
workspace,
no IDs on this screens.
Well, no. As you add new pod configurations or image template, sorry, image,
Yeah.
like.
And then you click and create, and
then
you
it will
take
not
the
work. The backend will say
no.
no.
Backend, you send you the wrong error, and you put the error for the user there. That's it.
But that's really hard. Like it's
not hard to display error message. The thing, Matthew, that I want to, as a user, I want to take a sample for workspace kind, upload a starting point, change the name of a property, add my own image of the Jupyter that I have in my company, click on create. I don't want to do this via the edit flow. I don't want to create something
so like,
that will not work.
You don't really get that choice because the front end.
No, I get that choice because if I edit this on this way,
But I don't understand.
I have
Like
the choice.
the workflow you're saying, it's completely fine to just have. They don't like the YAML is one option. Like effectively, the reason why we go into YAML was because I want people to be able to easily take the YAML from our samples and put them in. But
Okay,
the thing
but
you're describing,
nobody gonna use a sample as is. Sample template are templates.
Okay, sure, but like, I feel like we've completely got crossed here. Like, the whole thing the reason I mentioned YAML initially, there's another YAML piece, but that's later, was for like, okay, this workspace, the cluster is empty. It has no workspace kinds.
Yes, agree.
I was trying to pull people away from making a form to do the create because it's too complicated. Yeah. So then we still have made a form for create.
No, like, this is not. This is a form for to customize a template.
Yeah, but that like no, I will put okay. At a certain point, I will put my foot down. Like we're not going to have an edit view on this. Like it's just not a good idea. Like it's like it's we need like the backend. Like it's unfortunate that we didn't have the update API to show what I mean, but the APIs are not compatible between the actual YAML for the controller and the update API for the backend. And there's
Matthew,
a very good reason why.
How I start from a template in your point of view?
So my intention was there was two options. One is that you start from, so when you start a new cluster for Kubeflow notebooks, my intention was that you either create an empty one, which again, you could have a flow for that, which doesn't let you put any options in it at all. Just like cut those sections out if you really want. But I'm still a bit skeptical because I don't want them, the back end, the front end has no, like there's no we do automatic type generation from the backend API Swagger, to the front end's JSON object.
No, don't. Let's not talk about, please not talk about
Like, what I'm
technology.
saying is,
My
there
question
is
is,
a technical information.
I just installed Kubeflow.
Yes.
Okay, I want to use this new notebook 2.0 thing. Okay,
So there are two.
I say,
the
I need.
intention, right?
I need some. Let me just finish, please. I need a workspace kind because I want to spawn Jupyter notebooks. Okay,
Sure.
so there is this new thing about workspace kind. Okay, and then I take one sample from the website, download the sample from the website, and upload in the first Y here. I have this. Okay. But then I look like, those workspace images are not the ones that I want to my cluster. I do have to have my own image for this. How user do that?
So, my expectation is that most people will have just a sample like kubectl applied in a separate command to the install of Kubeflow notebooks, the upstream Jupyter one. The thing we were offering by offering a YAML upload was just for people who don't have kubectl access to the cluster, where their admin is just
for this person that I'm thinking, how I take one template and add my custom image for the template for the initial setup.
As the template. The template will work, right? Then you now have a workspace kind called Jupyter. Now you open the edit flow, which uses the backend with its much more comprehensive with the front end, which has type generation already for it. So it's very easy for the front end to use.
But in that moment, my cluster is on an invalid state, Matthew.
It's not
because
invalid.
I cannot.
Then just
I
don't
cannot.
do that.
No.
That's a
It's
user's
invalid.
choice. They don't have to apply it.
It's invalid because I cannot use that image. I need to use my own image.
Sure, you can delete the ones that were there, or you could just not upload the sample if that was a problem for you. Like, it's like we can have an empty sample. It's more than fine. But for that's not a problem in the real world. Like it's like I don't like we're agreeing that the goal is to get a workspace kind for the user. We both agree that the goal that the admin wants to create a workspace kind for themselves.
This part, yes, but I want also to change the display name and also add my workspace
Sure, but that will
before
not be
hitting create.
in the YAML editing. If the user wants to do that, they should do that with kubectl and YAML directly, right?
But I don't have kubectl access.
And that's why we've given you the ability to do a single upload. If it's so hard, then the alternative is to not. If like to make it more clear, like the alternative to this was literally just a button which pulled the YAML directly from the repo and didn't even let you upload. Like
I don't understand what's the problem of having this way. And then I stopped.
So like it's not a problem. Okay.
You understand, because I add an image, I add a pod configuration. If the pod configuration is broken, when I click create, I receive an error from the backend.
I get that this is like a desire. It feels desirable. It's just not necessary. And because it's technically impossible to implement, it doesn't matter how good it is.
How is it impossible to implement method? This is what I'm not understanding.
It's a separate. This is fundamental. Like it would require you to make this experience good. It would require you to actually understand the YAML, which the front end cannot do.
Why the front end cannot understand the YAML?
It's there's literally thousands of lines of code which understand the YAML elsewhere. It's madness for us to replicate that code in JSON and JavaScript in the front end.
We can apply some like there are some front end libraries that can like take a template. You can have a template and then it will apply and just sanitize it very strictly. We don't have it at the moment, but I think.
But now you're solutioning for a problem that it shouldn't need to solve.
No, Matthew, because sorry, Charles, because the thing is that I'm not understanding the rules and the logic behind the YAML. I just opened the structure of two things like the properties and workspace image and pod configurations to me to create. If I hit create, I got the backend.
The reason is that the YAML is not a human readable, is not really intended to be human readable. It is a machine readable thing.
No, I totally agree. That's why we need the farm.
Yeah, but that's yes, but I think you're.
No, you're saying the same thing that I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying
the YAML.
Like there is no need to have it in the create flow. That's what I'm trying to say.
So we are going to create workspace kind in invalid state.
It's not invalid. Like if the user
It's
really,
invalid because
really
I
cares about
cannot
it,
use that image. I cannot use that image that is listed on the template. So I
Cool.
need to add the YAML that you just told that the
but in the
user.
case where you
No, no,
know
no,
that
no,
it's
no, no, no.
invalid,
Let's finish my argument, Matthew. I take a template, right? And I cannot use the image that are on the template. I need to update my image. So you're telling that we should not put this Y because user can do change that manually, right? In the YAML. So we need to decide that. But if user it's open the YAML and changing the YAML is intent for the user because you just told it the opposite, that the YAML is not intended for human, is not intended for human readable. So we need to pick up one. You understand my point?
so
On the Y perspective. No, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do
need to
kind
pick
of,
either
yes, but
because if we need to pick either the user will add the YAML manually, or we are going to create from the templates in a valid state. And if users want to add the YAML manually, we are telling that the YAML is intent for the users and not is a just machine.
so
It's a contradiction in my point of view.
that's like the goal of the project is to be usable, right? Whether or not the YAML is human friendly, but again, it's not designed to be interacted programmatic. Like the difference fundamentally is that nothing should programmatically interface with the YAML other than the controller. Nothing. And that's a hard line. I will not let anything else interact with it because it's a separation of concern. The YAML is a controller thing. The user can edit it however they like, but it's text to the front end. That's why the input was YAML. As soon as it's actually a controller resource, the backend is now aware of it, the API, and then the front end doesn't talk to the controller, it talks to the backend. So that's all I'm saying. Like so having a view like this is fine, but the extent of it would be any YAML file I choose to upload here should be visible in like that JSON struct view. That's all, nothing more.
No, no. Now I think I'm understanding what you are saying, and I think we are saying the same thing, right? Click on the YAML upload, please. Imagine that we hide this file for user never edit. It's just a upload button for this.
That would also be acceptable, yes.
No. Let me finish. And then we go for the farm view for this, right? When I click on the farm view, there is no YAML. We are just using the JSON because we take the input, call the backend, take the JSON back without creating, and we are editing the JSON declaration for creating it.
So the issue is that
you understand because this will solve kind of the concern.
So you could do that.
Right.
That's not going to be an initial feature. The issue with that is that some validations are so complex that you can't do them until you actually try and actually apply them. Like the backend.
But we can do a dry run, right?
No, because the way that the backend works is that, so this is kind of what I wanted to explain, but it's separate. So like the backend interacts with the Kubernetes API. The controller is a controller. The process of doing an update is that the backend gets the current workspace kind state. It also gets the workspace states and merges them together. But what it does is it then turns it into a nice, sensibly serialized JSON object that it's like it has a struct with a Swagger struct type. You know what I mean? And that is the thing which gets sent to the front end. You do a get to get the current state of the workspace kind, which includes a really nice struct, which can then be posted back to update as well. But that struct type is not the same as the YAML. It's much flatter and it's got a strong typing because it's got Swagger.
Your problem here is that the YAML Charles, how we are taking this YAML and pushing for the backend? We are converting for JSON, right?
So right now, because the backend only accepts Well, actually, backend has not been fully written yet for the create. So right now, the backend, like I think Andy and someone else was working on it that create a
I,
backend only on YAML files.
I see. Because I think your confusion here, Matthew, that I agree with you, is that the front end should never know about the YAML. But
That's, and I don't, and
no,
it's not, that's
no,
not
no,
a
no,
debate. Like, this is not something
no,
that's
no,
up
no,
for
no.
debate.
This is
Like,
not.
it's a
This
hard
is this is
line.
no. This is something that I agree as well. But I would like to have this form here.
Yes, I don't think this form is the thing that needs to be here, though. The thing that needs to be here is, like a JSON tree view. That's the most that should be able to be here.
No, but I want the things that I want to be able to add the properties before sending.
No, just don't do that. Just go and edit the YAML directly then. Like, it's the front end can't validate that for you, so it can't really have a form for it.
But what if, like Eder said, like there was the dry run that
Yeah,
will
that's going to be a couple months away.
validate
Like,
it?
it's so complicated to do in the back end, and honestly, it's not really possible to do in the back end, and it's not necessary for users. Like, the only, like, at a certain point, like, if it gets too confusing, just scrap the create flow entirely and just have it completely out of band. Like, maybe I should have. That's probably what I should have said. Honestly, like, I've clearly confused people here. Like, the create flow being in the UI is only here as a helper to the very small number of people who will not have kubectl access to their own cluster. It also means that we can do much more complicated other authorizations and other things like that in the future. But the like all this was meant to be was an alternative to kubectl apply for the sample, or an empty one if you would like an empty one.
So it's just like a workaround.
Yeah, it's just but the edit flow, a lot of what you've built here can be used in the edit flow though, which is good. Like, this gives me confidence. But what's great is that you're going to have a statically defined type that you can use instead of having to unpack the YAML yourself. Like, the backend just has a Swagger for its, even including the affinity piece. Like, it will just be there. You know what I mean? Like, you'll have a complex nested JSON type that'll just be there, which is cool. Like, and you can, because we talked about automatically generating on the front end from the Swagger, right, Edo?
What?
The objects that you manipulate. Like, when you,
Yep.
Yeah, and so as a result, like, yeah, it's going to be a really complex JSON object, but it will break the front end when it's the wrong type. You know what I mean? So that's good. So it means the tests will fail when we do an update to the back end. But, like, what you've built here is very close to what we were designing for the update flow. Except there was a slight difference, which was that the update flow should look more like a stepper, like the create workspace flow. And then for those, those two special ones in the middle, you've got workspace images and pod configs or pod temp, you know what I mean? Those ones.
Yeah, we were working away from the stepper because it doesn't feel like it is a serial action. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean?
I understand what you're trying to
It's
say.
like a tab. Yeah, it could be like a tab or something. I don't know. But yeah,
Effectively, yeah, like, however it physically looks though, there's clearly there's so much complexity. So like this is getting very much in the weeds of how the update flow will work. It'll be much more obvious when you see the actual update backend API. But the thing that you'll have to do, like the thing that I think my suspicion was that, similar to how you've got this like link between a YAML and a form, right?
Right.
You'll have that, but for the backend just has a field, which is an array of very complex objects for pod config and a separate array, which is very complex objects for images, So when you're constructing the update, which could be adding new ones, removing existing ones, or updating adding, removing, or changing, right? Like, there's a list. Anyway, this is very abstract until you've seen the backend API, but what I'm trying to say is that the question then becomes, how do we effectively let someone copy in thousands of options, right? When they do the update.
I don't think if they are doing this, they will do by kubectl, like we're saying, Matthew, because we are not
It's
be able to
quite
do this
hard,
Y as well.
though. So
No,
that's
we are
kind
not, because you understand, Matthew. It's two things. It's like you are saying two different things. Like we're saying that, oh, let's add it manually, and in another hand, for the complicated use case, oh, let's build the most. And they showed me the designs for you. That Y is super complex. We are not to be able to do that Y. That Y is super complex to build. For
I
this
don't think
this
it's
key.
as complex as you think, because he's
Yeah,
already built
yeah,
it. Like the complexity, he's actually built it here. Largely
it's
what
not.
I was designing. I don't know what Andy showed you, but
The complexity here that we're talking about comes around with the add 1,000 new elements use case, which, you know, I'll say
Yep.
1,000 is ridiculous. Insert whatever big number there, right? Where I think the sticking point here, Matthew, is for like an MVP style thing, we would prefer adding images or pod configs just via a form. Click add new, click add new, click add new as an MVP GA style thing. When we start to say, we want in the edit flow, the user within the UI to be able to add 1,000, and we're talking about potentially switching over to a YAML view where you can bulk copy paste a bunch of stuff to then have the UI flip back to the table view and show the states of things. It's when we're dealing at that cardinality or scale, that's where the complexity really jumps up, both from a design and implementation standpoint. Not that these ideas aren't valid, but like, do we need to really support that from like a GA MVP kind of thing, right? I guess like that's the disconnect there of this focus on how to seamlessly do bulk image config or bulk pod config. Maybe we could treat that as a post GA element to ruminate on that more. And yes, if you want to add 3 things, you have to click in the UI and type it in, and that sucks. But it seems like that's a naturally incremental progression to optimize on then, okay, well, now Joel wants to add 50 things. What does this workflow look like? Versus just starting from ground zero going, this UI needs to be able to seamlessly and efficiently support adding 50 things in one go, copy paste. We're also simultaneously supporting, I can jump into one of these image configs and just edit it as a form view. And so it's trying to get what is the bare minimum simple case. And there I feel like we could treat bulk as not an MVP thing, not saying it's not valid, but there's just a lot of other complexity that comes along with that, where to like dog and pony show this and show people how Kubeflow Notebooks 2.0 works. I think the add individual in form communicates that value, and we can always evolve it to embrace the bulk semantics that it admittedly would be inefficient in that first proposal.
I think you guys are massively overestimating how complex it is. Almost all the complexity is being handled by the interface between the back end and the front end. Like from your perspective, all that's going to happen to the edit is like, so we're talking about edit. Creating is going to be YAML upload. That's all it's going to be. The viewer aspect of it, sure, we can add a JSON tree view. That's fine. The edit view is very simple. The front end does one get call. It does a get call to the workspace kind. What it returns is not the YAML. It returns a known statically defined JSON blob, which includes things like the display name, the description, it doesn't actually include information about the icons because those are separate, but it includes a lot of stuff. But it also includes a massive list of options to option arrays, which are also known types. All that you need to do as the front end is figure out a way to send that object back in the state that you would like it to be. Because it's the same object type for get and post. So how the front end can edit it however it likes. But because the object is statically defined with types that can be dynamically generated from Swagger, it's pretty easy. Like the front end UI elements, we can talk about how to do those later. That's just like, we've all got ideas about how to do that.
We're going to edit one or in a both.
It's kind of, that's up to how the front end wants to implement it. I definitely have some opinions about the way to best do that. But from a contractual perspective, what's happening is that you're getting this huge object, which looks, from your perspective, nothing like the YAML.
Like one JSON, right? We receive one JSON, we edit whatever we want, and send this payload back for the BF.
JSON back as the desired state.
Okay. The thing that we are talking about, if you're going to talk about edit one thing for the MVP for November, one workspace kind per time, it's fine.
You can edit it however you like.
No, no, it's one per time, because otherwise it'd be impossible to build a nice UI.
No, we're
to
not
build
doing
them both.
multiple workspace kinds. It's always one workspace kind. And because there's another factor that you guys haven't considered yet, which is the conflict prevention.
No, this let's not.
We already
I
got that. Like
understand, but
that's
let's
implemented in
no,
the backend already. That's
no.
what I'm
Okay,
saying.
okay,
Like,
but
that's like really complex.
why we cannot have do the same thing during the creation process? That's my point of view.
Because you just can't. Like,
Why?
Because it's not one of them. The creation is done with Kubernetes YAML, and updating is done with backend API.
But if
calls.
if I do a call for, if I receive a template that the user uploads, right? I could do a call for the BFF for the backend to create that data. I receive a JSON back, right?
So
you agree?
So
No, you agree so far. You agree so far.
No, because the issue is that there are many fields. Like I don't want to tie the backend to being
Matthew,
able to predict what the controller will do.
No, you're not listening. Sorry. I do a call for the backend with a create passing the YAML that the user uploaded, right?
Okay.
Then I do a call again for the backend and receive the JSON response, right?
Sure, that's what will happen. But if, when you do that first step, say that first step again.
I receive the user upload the YAML.
Now, so let me just tell you what the backend will do at that point. It will go to the Kubernetes cluster. It will try and create it. If it succeeds, it will return a 200.
Yes,
201,
yes. And then I do another call after, right, to do a get and receive the JSON payload.
You'll get the in the same way that as if it had existed for months.
Exactly. I do the JSON payload. Why I cannot use this JSON payload as a second step, like Charles mentioned?
That's kind of what I'm saying. He's built that. That's literally what that's what I'm saying. He's built something that can be easily translated to that.
Is exactly what I'm saying, Matthew. Is like when we need on the creation step, I step like a do a upload and then let the user in the same way.
It's not possible technically. That's like there's a hard line, which is that the front end is not allowed to pass the YAML. And the backend also doesn't know what it would return.
Matthew, you're not listening. Sorry. When I do the upload for the YAML, I'm doing a creation on this, on the first step of the wizard, right?
Doesn't need to be a wizard. It can just do the creation.
No. Forget. No, I do the creation. And in the second thing after creation, I want to edit that one, and I use the farm based on JSON.
Yeah. But like that's exactly what I'm saying. I don't understand.
No, nobody creates something without editing based on a template. That's what I mean. So it would be a 2 steps on the thing that Charlie designed.
If you're hung up about the UI doing it, I'm just gonna say we don't have a create in the UI. Okay. At this point, if you guys can't understand what I'm saying, it's too dangerous. You should just delete the create flow. Like it just shouldn't be in the UI. Okay. Like if this is too confusing, like it's just delete it. Only have an edit flow. It's like if it's clear that you're not understanding the complexities of what's going on. Like
I think you are subestimating what I'm saying, Matthew, and you are the one that's not understanding. No. You are the one that's not understanding what I'm saying. To be frank with you here, and I'm being polite on this statement.
What is the piece that you're thinking that I'm not understanding?
No. I tried to reply 3 times, Matthew. We're not move on the needle here on this one. To be honest, maybe we need to talk about this another time.
Okay, but
I explained the same thing 3 times, and 3 times
what
you
am I
didn't
not understanding? Help me understand.
No, I tried 3 times to explain for you. At this time, and I'm not confident that you're going to hear if I'm explaining the first time. The things that you agree that we should not use the templates as is. User want to change something on the templates. You agree with this or not?
I mean, they can choose to. I think a large number of users will just use the templates, but some will change them. Yeah.
And as soon as we do the creation process on the Y, I'm saying that we need to open the same Y consequently. It will be similar as edited, but in order to open the form, the chart is created and allow that form to be user add his own image, change the display description, and then we say it's like an edit flow, but inside the creation process.
We can also just open the edit tab. There's no reason why we can't. There's no reason to have 2 different ways to do the same thing.
Sorry, if I can try to reword what I'm understanding Eder to say. What Eder, we upload the YAML to the UI. The UI is going to call the backend at that point to just translate that YAML to the JSON representation, not persisted in the Kubernetes cluster. So
Is that what you're
now
saying or not? Can we confirm that he's saying that or not?
so like you basically poke the backend editor
No,
to
we
convert the YAML to this JSON.
No, we can do a dry run, but if a dry run is too complicated to implement in the backend,
Yes.
right? We can create the template first,
Yes.
and then return the JSON for the user, for the front end. Return the JSON for the front end, and it immediately open edit flow because user wants to change. No,
That's
this
a
is what I'm
front-end
saying.
decision, right? That's just a front-end flow.
Matthew, this is what I'm saying since the beginning.
Okay, but like, sure, that's the front end can choose to do that if they like. That's fine.
No, this is what I'm saying since the beginning, since like 20 minutes ago.
Like, I just want to make sure that it opens the true edit flow, not some weird custom edit flow. But yeah.
No, it's not. We are not parsing the YAML. We are using the JSON as a source of truth.
Okay.
Ideally, my point of view, we will do a dry run, receive the JSON to see that the JSON is correct, to do all the validations, and then create with the current state, with the right state. You know, because the thing that I would like to avoid ideally is to create a workspace kind with a wrong name that I want to create with the right name. You know.
Sure. And if
But
people really care
if
about that, it's not necessary for the MVP. That's not necessary for the MVP, is what I'm trying to say.
I think the MVP people want to add the add the workspace kind and add my own image.
If they really need to do that for some reason, like if there's even a millisecond of it being wrong is worrying to them, then they just need to make the YAML themselves in their own template. That's kind of what I'm saying. If there's like a millisecond level problem, you know what I mean? Like for like 5 minutes it takes me to do the update, you know? But like that doesn't seem necessary for the initial release, that's what I'm saying. Like, and it's not just because I don't want it to be possible. I would love that to be possible. It's just not. The backend can't know whether, like, it makes the backend so much more complicated for no reason. Like the backend is designed around the assumption that when you're editing a workspace kind, the workspace kind exists.
But I'm saying exactly this. We create the workspace kind and
that's
kick
what
off.
Let's do that. Yes.
And no, I'm saying this since the beginning.
I don't think that's what you were saying at the beginning, but okay. Like it's you understand how that's different to the flow that's shown on the screen. That was I'm not. By the way, Charles, amazing work. What you've done is very good. And what I'm trying to say here is nothing around what you have or haven't done. This is mainly just around the practical, and it's honestly impressive that you were able to pass the YAML at all in the front end. Like, maybe we should have saved you a bit of time by not making you have to do that. But the fact that you've learned a lot about the YAML will help you when you're building this update flow, because pretty much what you've designed is what we need to do for the update. The MVP for the update flow is that, just rather than the YAML working on the backend's JSON, which is going to be so much easier for you to work on because you're going to have statically defined JSON objects already for every element of the JSON. You know what I mean? There's going to be a one-to-one mapping for an existing JSON object that's generated automatically.
Yeah. So to be clear, so when we want to create, an image, or like not an image, I'm sorry, just using a YAML, and then
Sure.
You hit create immediately, and then to configure it, you have to hit edit. That's what you're trying to say.
And we will probably offer the ability to do a create with a, again, from the front end's perspective, known JSON object rather than a YAML object. But the initial thing we were doing was just making it so that the backend had one less API to do because it wasn't strictly necessary. But for what Ed is saying, we will offer in the future an option to send a JSON payload, right? But we're just avoiding that work right now. That's what the whole idea was about this whole debate. But what you've done is still very useful because it's very similar to what will be necessary for the edit flow. But we will need to delete that part from the front end, like the editing of the YAML is what I'm saying. Like it in the initial upload piece. But it's fine. Like the only way to, so for now the backend will only have a post YAML payload, which is just interpreted as a Kubernetes YAML. For create. But in the future, it will have a payload as well, which we can discuss how to do that so that editor can have what he wants as well, right? You know what I mean? Where you start from an empty workspace kind and you click some buttons to add more. But that's really complicated. And I didn't want to have all those debates because it's not doesn't need to block the release. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because like the create of a workspace kind of just is something that you need to be a Kubernetes expert to do. Like, because there's really complex defaults. Like, for example, you shouldn't run PyTorch in a Kubernetes pod without adding an SHM tempfs volume mount. You know what I mean? Like, how the hell is a normal user going to know that?
I see.
It's like we just have an example for a Jupyter, which the PyTorch image, for a PyTorch Jupyter or whatever, you know, workspace. Anyway, the point is, I really love what you built. It is really cool. How difficult would it be to, well, you haven't seen the backend API for the update yet, but how difficult would it be to just for the initial thing so that similar to how, like what I'm showing is this, like similar to how, you know, how if you, similar to how you could have something like this, just, you know, just as the initial view, if they, so that they can nest it to make it more easy to look at, you know what I mean?
I haven't explored that.
And like, yeah, and that's all I'm saying is like we could just give them this, but then in the end, it's just a, like if we type, for example, if we did, like we just copy an actual workspace kind in here. We actually need to go to the, like, it's mostly just a convenience to the user in this case. Controller samples. I mean, we need YAML. Kind of like, you know, but with a bit more flair. But you don't need to actually pass any of these things. You just assume that the user knows what they're doing.
I see. Yeah. We'll have to probably do a little research on this.
But yeah, what you've built is
build.
very close to what's necessary for the update UI though. So it should be relatively straightforward. And a lot of the complexity that I assume will be in there, like, you know, going dot pod template dot, you know what I mean? All these trying to reference these objects. Because I assume you're just hard coding subfields, right?
Yeah, creating empty fields. That's what.
Like what I'm saying is on the when you go from the edit YAML on, pretend this was your left view and this was your right view, to go from here to your one of this, which is different. You're just kind of, you know that under specs, pod template options, image config values, that's the one that shows that section. That's kind of what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it shouldn't have to, the front end should never ever be doing that, just because it can't. There's no guarantees that that will always be the structure.
I see.
What I'm saying is we can't hard tie the front end to the YAML, and I think even Error agrees with that, right? We're not disagreeing on that element. Yeah, do you agree or not?
No, I understand your point, but I think if someday we change the YAML structurally, like you're saying, not a small update that is enough to break the front end, the JSON we need to change as well.
But that's the thing. But that'll be automatically picked up by the tests because the backend will then be like,
No, yes, but the JSON is gonna change as well, you know. But we are fine to change it, to use the JSON structure for the JSON. Save us time. When
you change the JSON, then the front end will get a new object type with the new fields, right? Which will then break the tests on the front end. You know what I mean? So like this is kind of what makes it great, because it means that you never have to never hard code a reference. Yeah. Hopefully, like, I think the confusion has just come from the fact that the backend update API wasn't there and it made it a bit confusing to look at. And I'm sorry for that not being there. But we didn't really have a finalized version of what it would look like until today, or a couple days ago. So hopefully Okay, like we're all here to build something. Hopefully we have come to some consensus on this. But yes, maybe. Okay, so sometimes you do have to figure things out. But good work on that. It was really cool what you built. So anything else we need to go through here? Oh, Andy?
Nope.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. It's obnoxious to remember if I'm muted or unmuted when I'm on my phone. With this update thing, Matthew, the update API, I know that we've talked about, but I just wanted to bring it to like the recording in general so other people are aware, right? One of the things that we've spent a lot of time talking about is particularly around the conflict detection, right? How do we know what they sent and what's the nature of the error they get back if the state of the cluster has changed in the course of them making these edits? And you've put forth some very good ideas around very, very granular conflict detection on, image config and pod config and things of that nature. And then I wanted to get your thoughts, again, not saying that that isn't the right long-term direction, but in terms of kind of de-scoping from an MVP perspective, if we did just use like the metadata.generation initially.
That's what we're doing. That's literally what we're doing. That's my point.
Okay, cool. I wanted to check with you because we were talking about all those like hashing of individual elements. And I was like, not to say that we can't evolve there, but I'd like the first drop of this working end to end is really just kind of like the workspace kind changed or didn't, which yes, could mean if people in parallel are adding an image config and adding a pod config, which in theory should be able to exist in unison, someone would for now get a 409 because it changed, and then we can evolve that incrementally moving forward to be more intelligent. Does that align with where your head's at now?
The front end will need to resolve the conflict. It will be given all the tools necessary to do so. But we're getting really in the weeds in a call that probably is better when you have a reference. But like the way that it will work is that, how we talked about there's an object that is for the update. One of the fields of that object is called generation at the root.
Okay, thank you.
And if you send the wrong generation, the backend will reject your request. It's like if the generation the generation that the backend is aware of is newer or just different than the one that you sent, it will say, hey, it'll 409 you. It'll be like, hey, you something.
No, like I said, as we have a reference implementation, it will make more sense. But I wanted to kind of just get that first initial basic behavior understood, so I was on the same page. So I'm
probably
good
what
with
the front
that.
end would do in that case is it would remember what it got when it first did the get, when the user started editing. It would then do another get to get the current one. It would then need to do a diff, right? There's no other way for it to do it. So
yes,
if it wanted to just not reset the flow, but yes, okay. Yes, always, it's always fun to have discussions around architecture and meetings that are not really meant to be about that, but okay. Let's, is there anything else we need to talk about? There probably is, but we're kind of we've gone off the rails a bit here. Okay. Thanks, Charles, by the way. Hopefully you can work with Andy once that exists. I will, as of, what I'm going to do is get the workspace update, and then and make that PR in the next half an hour or so. Maybe it might take a bit longer because I need to add some tests, and that's going to be kind of complicated.
Yeah, as long as I understand the structure, probably.
You'll have so to be clear, is the front end able to generate from the Swagger automatically yet or not?
There's one. The work item we're missing that someone is started to look at yesterday is right now with that swag client we use, Matthew, we don't have the right annotations in place to list which fields are required, which the front end needs for its type generation to know how to know if they should be able to submit or not. And so it's once we get that metadata getting included in the generated Swagger, that will unblock the type generation. So we're very close. It's just providing that additional metadata.
Shouldn't it mostly be just based off what the field shows as optional or not? Like whether it's Like every field
Um,
that's there is required in the post.
The issue is there's like in Swagger 2.0, there's like a required array, and it needs to be populated for the libraries that Guillermo unfortunately isn't on the call, but he was the one that looked into this. And so there's like a required collection on the object that's not present right now, and it needs that.
I wonder how do we know how to set that from the generator side? Is that a thing you can
Right.
do?
So that's the issue. Yeah, we're looking into what that is, but that was someone's started to look at that.
I imagine it's probably possible, right? It must be, right? There's no way it's. We can just obviously required by default is probably just the solution to this. We can just say everything's required. Probably is the simplest way to do that, right?
Right. So, yeah. So I don't think it'll be hard. It's just we're just digging in to get the right. And someone just started looking at it yesterday, so we'll have updates hopefully by next week.
The only kind of complex thing is that the way that in the back end I'm representing optional fields, there isn't that many so far, but in the rare case that there is an optional field, again, it's only relevant to posts anyway. And some of that's being changed in the PR that I haven't quite raised yet. But it's, if we go to the model, the way it will look is types. So like there's every single field here is required except stuff like this, but it's like, it's still required. Like it's not that this isn't required. It's that you need to tell us that it's null. You know what I mean? Like that and I think it's not incorrect. I think the assumption should be required by default. I can just enable that if you would like. If it's like that, because literally there's case. So it's going to be a very rare case that you don't have to set something, is what I'm saying.
Right, and I mean, even Jeremy mentioned that on the front end, right? So let me start up a thread on the CNCF Slack channel, tagging him, just so I can, that sounds totally reasonable by me, but he was just like a little more in the weeds on the details here. But I'll start up a thread and tag him to close on that. But that does seem to align.
I can just raise a PR very quickly that'll do that now if you would like, but it should fix your problem, right? If that's the only field, that's the issue. But,
yeah, so we'll talk with him, and I mean anyone can quickly raise that PR, so don't worry about that. I don't want to distract you with that, but so we're very, very close to type generation. Once that metadata in some form or fashion is included in the back end, then Guillermo can move forward with enabling that on the front end. So that's
of course, that is. This may break some of the deeply nested in the workspace kind options. Like workspace kind options might get complicated with this. For now, that's not a problem because obviously none of these fields have that complexity.
Right.
But
yeah.
As again, the only time when this matters is when you're posting, right? Or
yes.
Or is it also forgetting?
That was my let me start up a thread with Guillermo so I'm not putting false information out. Because I know he was looking at this, so he'll be able to clarify this.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So from your perspective, Charles, what should happen is that there should be a bunch of JavaScript object types that are generated automatically no matter what, that are the actual things that you're manipulating.
Yeah.
And JSON objects JavaScript objects obviously have a direct mapping to JSON. So
yeah, and that you don't have to use one another. I will understand.
And then in the case that you try and reference a field that doesn't exist, it'll be like, hey, that field doesn't exist anymore in the new version. You know what I mean? Which again would be a breaking change from the API, so we wouldn't do that. But
yeah,
the backend will handle that conversion to the old version of the struct for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could have a problem where you have a transition period where we have two versions of the backend of controller at the same time. It's a separation of concerns.
Mm-hmm.
But what you've proven there is you're going to be able to do it, is what I'm saying, which is good.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, it's definitely.
But yeah, you will even get, how we talked about there's no publicly visible version of it yet, but how you talked about some of these complicated nests.
Mm-hmm.
You will actually get objects for those too, but you probably want to be careful about how you manipulate them, I guess. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Like,
Well-
don't build too strong of an interaction between the front end and it, I'd say. So like
Oh, yeah,
sometimes the
I
form
think-
editor for that one of those objects should just be show the JSON blob, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, what do you mean by like show
so
the
like
JSON
what I'm saying
blob
is
for?
some of these, I think we've already kind of explained, like as you've literally said that
Yeah.
if like some
Yeah,
of these are just
yeah, like for affinity or whatever. Yeah.
just anytime when it's like already a nested 5 or 6 layer deep
Yeah,
object,
yeah.
while the actual, so the front end will be able to validate though that it does conform to the JSON by just trying to cast it to that object. You know what I mean? Like,
Got you.
so
yeah.
you'll get some benefit from there, so that when the user clicks edit on that thing, it shows it as JSON rather than a form. You know what I mean? But it,
Yes.
but then when they click save, it'll be like, hey, that doesn't conform to the standard. You know what I mean? Like that's not actually
Yeah,
allowed.
I think yeah.
Of course, it could still be invalid for some much more complicated reason that the Kubernetes cluster doesn't like. But from like is this a string that's there? Is this an you know what I mean? Like this section, for example, if we just so that people in the recording can see it. I mean, no one's gonna watch this, but like from the perspective of like, did they try and set a field that isn't a valid security context, or a like even more complex under like no like tolerations, for example, if they tried to set it as a like the actual struct under here looks like this, you know what I mean? It looks just decides to load. Like you've got an array of maps which have these. It's like, did they misspell effect, you know, or something? But affinity is the worst, I agree.
Yeah, I think that's probably the worst.
Because it's actually like this. You've got 3 root maps. And then,
Yeah, I've digged down, like you can have.
so you'll get, so what I'm saying is
Yeah.
you'll have a JSON object, JavaScript object called node affinity. You know what I mean? You'll just get one.
Got it.
And then under here, it'll show, and it will have an array, a field called that with the type array with the field type that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so I guess what if the user has an affinity object from somewhere else, and usually for Kubernetes it would be in YAML. Like
so
what if they
YAML
want
and
they
JSON
want
are one-to-one to each other.
yeah,
right.
yeah. What if they yeah, I guess like we can have like a YAML.
You have 3 tabs, right? Effectively what you do is you have, if there's a form view, you can have that. I think every field should pretty much give you this, right? Which is
Right.
like, well, within reason. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't
that,
have
like,
to show everything, yes.
yeah, like for ones that are just single string fields, obviously not. But
Mm-hmm.
for you know, because, and this is where it comes back to, okay, so when you're editing options, I think for a lot of people, they're gonna want, like, so I think we talked about with Andy, right? You know how you've kind of got that table view. You've already understood that that's the most logical way to view this part, right? But the table view, I think, should additionally have, in the same way that, I don't know if you've seen the workspace creation UI and updating UI, not yet, but that it has like a Amazon cart style selector on the side, you know, where you got like based on labels.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that you should be able to filter the table by that as well. And then for all the currently visible ones, view these as a YAML or JSON array to edit them that way, or open a specific one, like you said, click edit, and then edit the spec with its own form, you know?
Got you.
And it will be, what I'm saying is you can see how much easier it's going to be for you once there's the JSON JavaScript object, right? Like,
Yeah.
it just solves so many problems for you. Like, I'm impressed that you managed to do so much as you did. Like,
Yeah, we have a good amount of presidents within Red Hat, like in different products, like consulting with Kyle. Like we know like where certain things are kind of similar, so we could just kind of apply the similar principles to those things. But yeah, there are a lot of different weird stuff in OpenShift that echoes like the different niche use case for Kubernetes. So yeah, it's not just me coming up with stuff.
because you also have one of the, so just like to give you some context, and I guess Nicole a little bit of context, is that we talked about think about it from the admin's perspective. Why are they even editing the workspace kind? Well, there's 3 possibilities for the options, because you normally would never edit the things at the top here. You know, these things are pretty much static
Yeah.
once they're done the first time. And some of them are actually not mutable, like we don't let you change this.
Yeah.
And so these things, for example, ones that are not mutable will not be returned in the API for the post. Like they're not going to be in the object. You won't even see them.
Got it.
Because they're not. So there will be things that the admin who created the workspace kind will know about that the user may not. So maybe in the future we could return them as a read-only section of it. You know what I mean? So that you can, so that the admin knows, being like, hey, don't put an image config that doesn't support this as its home path. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so for example, if the user's home directory is not Jovian, maybe the name of the user is Ubuntu. It's like, well, you should, like, this could be like a warning at the top being like, hey, make sure that your image config is compatible with these known pod template things, you know? But that's a longer term thing. But in the short term, we just won't return those. You know what I mean? You just won't see them. Like, you'll only see the ones that are allowed to be posted back and changed. So, yeah. But yeah, you've got a lot of freedom to choose how you think the best way to edit it is, but just think about it from the persona of the admin. Like, so why are they editing it? So they're either adding a new option, in which case they may or may not be redirecting from an old option as well. It's 2 separate steps. They could be, you're not allowed to edit the spec. It's not allowed. So you can't do that. They could be updating the description. Or they could just be removing an option, you know? But
for an image.
For an image is probably the more likely one, but even pod config could also be removed. Like, say you've got a GPU type that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And so what another thing that I forgot to tell you, another thing that's going to be sent back with the update will be some sections that you can't post back, or that are ignored when you post them back. You know what I mean? Which are how many users are using this option right now, so that you can warn the user, you can't edit this one, it would be rejected. Like, for example,
Yeah.
like the JSON object that gets sent to you would say, here's the ID, spawner, and spec section, but here's another metadata section, which is like in use by this many workspaces. You know what I mean? Like, and so that in that table view, you could have that at the top level, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Those probably, yeah, could.
Yeah. So like,
probably they will in the future.
and then from your perspective, just think about it from the user, and that's really all you need to do, because that's what the front end's about, right? Like understanding, thinking about user flows, taking in the future feedback from users, being like, this is painful, or whatever else. But yeah, cool. Anything else? Any questions you want to ask about that before we stop the recording?
No, I think I have more enough information to go from there.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I hope I didn't scare you off. Like, it was not about your design or anything. It was us misscoping the request to you. But yeah.
No.
Thanks. Anyone else want anything before we close out? Okay. Thanks for coming.